Mark. How are you?
What's up, guys?
How you doing, pal? All right, we're going to start the show in about 3 minutes or so.
Okay.
I'm just going to do a brief introduction. We're going to do a quick run of sponsors, and then figure by about 4 or 5 minutes after, I'm going to punch you up, okay?
All right, sounds good.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
We're good. Okay, good idea.
They just go with the flow. It's the Hershey and Keegs Show.
Welcome to Hershey and the Keegs Show, starring pitcher Mark Hirschman and his personal catcher, Mike Keegan. Every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. live from the Governor's Comedy Club radio studio. Thanks so much for listening.
Well, hello. Thanks so much for listening. That's right. Well, it is 9 o'clock. It's Tuesday night. Wiggle those hips, twiddle those nips. We are going to have a fun night and of fun.
Oh, it's going to be a fun night of fun. That's right. It's going to be a fun night of fun. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk with some Johnny's basketball. We have a great guest on. As usual, what we'll do is we'll do our first run of sponsorships, and then we'll get right into our guest who is patiently awaiting for us. So the Hershey and the Keegs Show is proudly sponsored by Demolition Specialist, 1-855 Rip-Outs, the number you call for demolition, dumpsters, and fence rental. Family owned and operated for over 30 years, they are a fully licensed demolition contractor. We are brought to you by Angela's Bra Boutique at 223 Main Street in Farmingdale, 516-249-6509. Personalized bra fittings providing a wide selection of brands, sizes, and styles. And if you mention the Hershey and Keegs Show, you get 10% off all of your purchases. And of course, Triple M Professional Painting and Construction, 516-395-6390. Family owned and operated for over 35 years. Call for your free estimate today and ask for James. And then we have, of course, Sunray Services. Now is the best time to convert to hybrid heating and cooling. Call them today at 631-231-5533 or visit them online at www.sunrayservices.com. As you know, I went to, as I have a few times this year, I went to the Johnny's game the other day, Saturday, where they clinched their first Big East regular season title in many years.
Big news.
And they've kind of taken over the city right now, which is super exciting. Sports junkies we are. I thought that we needed to get someone on to talk some Johnny's. Right. And with no further ado, we have one of the most well-respected sports journalists in all of the city, from the New York Post, St. John's columnist, Zach Braziller. Hello, Mr. Zach. How are you, sir?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Thank you so much for coming on, pal. We were short notice, and obviously this is about a busy time as you've had probably in your St. John's writing career, I'm guessing. Is that correct?
Well, they got a bye week, so it's not that crazy this week.
That's right.
But, I'm still writing almost every day. But yeah,
exciting as hell, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to believe. You know, I've covered this team for a decade, and I always wonder what it would be like to cover a legitimately good St. John's team. I never expected a top 10 team. I would have taken top 20, top 25. Yeah. So do
you believe it? I mean, you certainly, when we saw this transition to Pitino, obviously a couple of years ago, we all expected improvement. But did you expect the improvement so strong and so fast?
I thought they'd be good this year. I didn't obviously think this good. I thought tournament team, you know, maybe like a 7 seed, 6 seed at best. Last year's team was good at the end. You know, last year they took too long to hit their stride, and they by March they were pretty good. They were a good team, but this team has been just so consistent. They've lost once this year. I mean, in the year 2025. Yeah, I thought they could be good. I did not expect this.
I knew they'd get there. I didn't know it was going to be so quick, though.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, so do you think that they came back with a little extra chip on their shoulder for the fact that they thought they were going to maybe be a bubble team and get in, and they weren't really even considered at the end there? We thought that they were going to get an opportunity, and they didn't. You think they came in with a little extra swagger because of that?
Maybe a little. I mean, you know, they do have a bunch of new guys. Two of their stars, R.J. Lewis and Zubi Ejiofor, were on that team last year. Didn't have nearly as big roles as this year.
Yeah,
I think a big difference was Pitino knew he couldn't have another slow start, and so he kind of made some adjustments in terms of stuff they did in the summer, stuff they did in the fall, to where they were much more ready early on in this season. Now, it helps when you have about 4 or 5 guys back. Last year's team was almost completely new. I don't know if it's motivational as much as I just think they were much better prepared to hit the ground running this year.
Can we just talk about Saturday? I was there, and I'm sure you were there as well. When I saw Patino, and I texted you about this the other day when I was at the game, Mike. When I saw Patino walk out of that tunnel in that white suit, he was in a full white suit for the whiteout, and I got goosebumps. I'm like, this is the White Knight that's saving New York. That's what it felt like. He walked out with that grin on his face, like he was so confident, and he was just he knew they were gonna kick ass. And I don't know, what did you think about that moment? I just found it to be so exhilarating.
Yeah, I mean, St. John's games have kind of become events. I mean, 3 straight sellouts at the Garden, and in a pro town, that is not easy to do. It's kind of like the perfect, I'm not, look, I think he's going to coach at least 2, 3 more years here, but it's kind of like the perfect arc to his career. He's a New York guy. He coached the Knicks. He's basically done everything, been everywhere, and now he finishes this remarkable coaching career by bringing St. John's back. And I do think he's got another at least 2, 3 years in him, maybe even more. He's in incredible shape. He clearly hasn't lost his fastball. I think he loves kind of being a big star again in New York City. And he's made St. John's mad. They're kind of like a pro team again, back like they were in the late '90s when they made all those runs.
And certainly, I mean, we're all definitely older than you, but, I go back to the days of, the 80s when they were making it to the Final Four with Louis. And I mean, obviously, this is probably the most heralded time that we've seen since then. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, like 98, 99, they had a really good team. Ron Artest, Eric Barkley, Bootsy Thornton, they made the Elite Eight. But yeah, they're doing things this year that this program hasn't done in forever. I mean,
since they changed names.
Oh, that's right. That's a good point.
They were the Red Men.
Yeah, it is crazy just the kind of year they've had, and now they have 1 game left Saturday at Marquette, and then they go to the Big East tournament and then the NCAA tournament. There's a lot of excitement right now with this team.
I want to touch on the Marquette game in a second, but we mentioned Louis, obviously. What kind of I don't know, almost like a cruel irony that this is happening, this renaissance, only literally months after Louis passed. I mean, you ever think about that?
Yeah, it's sad. It's kind of bittersweet, I think. He obviously meant so much to so many people, and I remember I was actually on vacation when he passed. They had a week break between games, so I was like, perfect time to go away with the wife. And I land in Costa Rica, and I've always text on my phone saying Louis passed. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm missing this. But I remember coming back, first day back home, they played Kansas State at Carnesecca, the first game after Louis, and it was just Patino wore the Louis sweater.
Yep.
Ejiofor had a monster game. They overwhelmed Kansas State in the second half, and Ejiofor had a monster game, and he kind of recalled, just seeing Louis walking around and talking to him, and just what a kind, how with it he still was at the age of 99. And I thought it was kind of poignant that Ejiofor is kind of like a Louis type of guy, a real hard hat, high character kid, and I thought it was kind of poignant that he had such a big game on the first game after Louis' passing. But yeah, it stinks that he's not around to see it, but hopefully he's up there somewhere kind of smiling and watching all this.
Yeah, I definitely think he is. And so you mentioned the Marquette game. So I've had this conversation with a couple of my buddies. One of my childhood best friends, Tommy Bruno, actually has season tickets at the Garden right behind the press area on the floor. So he's right in that row. And I had mentioned to him the other day after the game about the idea of maybe Patino giving the guys a little bit of a break, the guys who are hurt, hamstrings and things like that. And he said that he didn't think it's a good idea to give them a rest against Marquette because the Marquette game could have an effect on seeding. So what do you think about the idea of a load management versus the idea of just having to win that game against Marquette?
No, they're going full bore to win this game. There's no question about that.
Okay.
Think about it. They have a week off between games. Then they have another 5 days before the Big East tournament. So they have basically 1 game in 12 days, 1 game in 13 days, whatever it is. So, you don't want rust. And then the other thing is he talked a little bit about how he felt like because guys have been hurt and haven't really been practicing much, he thinks that's kind of hurt their rhythm a little. They didn't play great last week. Barely beat Butler on the road. They didn't play great in the Seton Hall game. So Patino said he thinks they need to really amp it up here. guys do have time off. It's not like they're going to be killing them here in practice this week. But no, I think they go all out. So like I said, I think if they win out, which includes Saturday, the Big East tournament, they have an outside shot at a number 2 seed. I think they're going all out. It's Pitino, man. That guy wants to win at anything. So yeah. Now look, if they're down big or something, would he maybe not go crazy? Possibly. But no, I think they are going in this game. They're treating this game like any other game, like it's a game they really want to win.
Mike and I were talking about this the other day, that we were watching the video together of him. I guess it was a halftime video, and he was shredding the guys. And, this guy at 72, I guess he has more energy, passion, and conviction than anybody we know our age. I mean, he is an absolute animal.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the reasons he can do that, well, number one, he's got obviously the history. He's an all-time great coach. These guys know he gets guys to the league. But the other reason he can do that is he's out there with them. He still does his skill development sessions every day at 8 a.m. with all his players. It's not like he's delegating to assistant coaches. So he's out there sweating with them. I've been there. I've seen it. I mean, he's out there doing it with them. So when he's getting on them, it's not like he's there sitting, drinking coffee as they're busting their butts. He's out there, grinding with these guys. So I think that's another reason he can kind of do it. And he'd say, look, I know what it takes. I've won championships. I've gone to the Final Four. I've sent guys to the NBA. Like, I know what it takes. And when he, one thing that, players for him have always said in the past is, it's not how he says it, it's what he says. Sometimes he can get on guys and be really tough, as we've seen in some of these videos, but it's all to make them better, and it's to build up their mental toughness. And that's one thing this team has. They're so mentally tough. I've never seen a team, especially St. John's team, that can be so shaky one moment and then just flip a switch and play so well. That's one thing this team really does that I think is going to help them in the tournament, is the moment does not faze them.
So the moment doesn't faze them, and certainly they're a high effort team, which is really kind of symbolic of really most Pitino teams, and they're phenomenally defensively. What I'm concerned about, and I'm sure you following them, is that sometimes they have little moments of where they go and they don't score points for a while, and then that makes me nervous. And then you have a guy like Kadari who misses 4 free throws in a row. Like, those are the things that worry me. Those little are they good offensively enough to go ahead and make it to a Sweet 16 or an Elite 8 in the tournament? What do you think about that?
Look, it's fair. They're not a great offensive team. I don't think there's any question. Now, I feel like Kadari has been much better at the line of late.
He has.
But yeah, it's completely fair. They go through droughts. There's no doubt. And that's why that great defense is so key, because they can go in droughts and the defense will keep them afloat. Now, I feel like they've been a little better shooting the 3 of late. You would like to see that continue. I also think another thing is their style is very unique. They kind of play like, for the college basketball junkie, Houston out in the Midwest, where they're so physical, they're so tough, they never stop. And now teams in the Big East have kind of gotten used to that a little bit, and maybe it's not making quite the impact it was early, but they're going to be playing teams who it's new to them. And I think there's going to be some shock value there, because they don't play like they play a very different style than most teams are used to.
Yeah, there's no question about that. You had written a column not that long ago, or I think you had maybe tweeted about it, that Pitino made a big point out of saying that he probably would not have come to St. John's without Father Brian Shanley. Can you just touch a little bit about that and the significance of Father Brian Shanley and Pitino coming to Queens?
Yeah, they share Providence roots. Obviously, Pitino coached Providence in the 80s. Father Shanley was a big part of, the last decade of building Providence up. He helped them get a new practice facility. He's the guy who hired Ed Cooley there. And so they have a lot of the same friends. And Father Shanley actually nearly hired Pitino there in 2011 when Pitino was at Louisville. Pitino in the last second was like, I can't leave, and stayed in Louisville. They hired Ed Cooley, so they had a relationship back there, going back then. And Pitino said he knew how much work St. John's had to do with infrastructure, with just the whole mentality of kind of changing how they've been. And he had confidence that someone like Father Shanley would do that. Now they hired a new athletic director, Ed Cull, who's a big-time fundraiser who's a Queens guy, and he's been someone that Pitino really likes and is working well with. So you already see that kind of dynamic as well. And they have a new practice facility that's in the works a few years from now. So yeah, I mean, I believe in when he say it. I mean, Father Shanley was a big part of when there was realignment and the Big East fractured. Father Shanley was a big part of that league kind of sticking together and remaking itself about, I guess, what it was now 10 years ago. So yeah, I think he's kind of a huge part of this whole thing, no doubt.
Now, what happened the other day, obviously, the game was, the Seton Hall game was supposed to be at Carnesecca. Obviously, they needed to move it. If we see a progression of this organization, this team over the next couple of years, are they going to wind up outsizing Carnesecca, where they're going to be at Carnesecca less and MSG more, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be a place for Carnesecca. I think you're looking. I think maybe around 10 Big East games next year.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I believe it was. I believe it's 9 was this year, with moving the Seton Hall game. So I think maybe 10, maybe 11. I still think you play a few league games there. You play a few non-conference there. But I know they want to play a few big non-conference at the Garden next year. You know, the Seton Hall game was going to be at Carnesecca, and the prices on the secondary market were nuts because people thought, hey, they could clinch the league title there, and it was like they ended up with a sellout at the Garden, which for Seton Hall when having an awful year, which is pretty crazy. But I don't think you ever just forget Carnesecca, but I think you can see maybe slightly less games there moving forward.
Yeah, so I saw, I don't know if it was last year or this year, they played a non-league against my alma mater, Stony Brook, and I had like seats like in the 10th row, and I thought it's such an amazing. Mike, have you been to Carnesecca Arena? Have you seen any games
One
there?
time.
It's really a phenomenal place to see a ball game. I mean, certainly you don't have a lot of room to spread out and move around that much, but once the game is going, there's a level of intensity at Carnesecca that there's not too many places in sports that you can match it.
Yeah.
Also, like 200 degrees in there as well.
Oh, stifling. Totally stifling, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is a good home court advantage. But look, if you're going to be selling out the Garden, you're getting 18,000 at the Garden. The Garden could be an absolute magical place. And, you know, for the first time in what feels like a long time, St. John's has a real home court advantage of the Garden. You know, it's not like 16,000 people and 7,000 Villanova fans or, you know, 7,000 UConn fans. You actually have a legit home court advantage, and it's a huge selling point. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
there was definitely not a lot of Seton Hall fans.
You know, like when you know we talk to new players, whether it's transfers or high school kids, they talk about the Garden, and you know, for a kid who maybe didn't grow up here, it's a big selling point. It's one of the great arenas in the world, and now that they're really kind of creating that home court advantage here and they're filling it up, they would be dumb not to try to get there as many games as possible.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that the Johnnies played pretty awfully for most of the game on Saturday, to the point where I was like, God, I bought these tickets last minute. I brought my son so he could see the St. John's win the Big East tournament, Big East Conference, I should say, for the first time in 30-something years, and they're going to lose to awful Seton Hall. But I really do feel that the crowd came alive. If you remember, maybe like 6-7 minutes where Johnny's maybe moved up like 4 or 5 points, and then that's when the game took a real turn. So there's no question. There's probably no crowd in college sports like an MSG St. John's crowd, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, the Big East tournament is going to be awesome because you're going to have obviously a huge St. John's flavor there, and they're going to play Thursday at noon, and then they win that, which you would think they will. They would play Friday night, and last year's St. John's UConn game was just so electric, the Big East tournament semifinals, and I would think whoever they play this year is going to even more so. There is something special about a St. John's crowd behind a really good St. John's team. It's not something we've seen for so long, and now that you have it, you kind of want to bottle it and just keep it going.
I think, and Mike and I were talking about this, how Danny Hurley is making himself enemy number 1, 2, and 3 in college sports right now. If there winds up being an important game between these two teams, I think that's going to be pretty outrageous, and the Hurley hate will be at an all-time high.
I mean, imagine a St. John's UConn Big East championship game at on Saturday night, man, would that be something?
I mean, it's very feasible. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, they may not be ranked as high as Creighton Marquette, but ultimately, this is a two-time in a row winning championship team, and they've been playing better, obviously, and they do have what he calls himself the greatest coach in basketball leading them. So a chance of a Big East tournament championship of those two is pretty legitimate, I think.
Yeah, I mean that would be some kind of Saturday night in New York City, man. Those two teams in the championship game, those two coaches, all the UConn and St. John's fans. It's hard. Look, I don't root, but it's hard to say I wouldn't be rooting for that to happen because that would be amazing.
So that's an interesting question. So you say you don't root. I believe you are a Queens guy originally. Is that correct?
No, I've lived in Astoria for about a decade, but I'm a Brooklyn guy.
Okay.
People are going to be so mad when you hear this. I actually grew up rooting for Syracuse. I have relatives upstate in Ithaca, pretty close to Syracuse. So I was a Syracuse fan as a kid. Although I did root for St. John's, I rooted for Seton Hall. I kind of root for all the local teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I am not a St. John's fan. I am close with a ton of St. John's fans. I've become close with a lot of them over the years, and I'm in chats with them, and I'm happy for them because you know what St. John's maybe now you have all the bandwagoners, but St. John's has a really good fan base, a really passionate fan base, and they've waited a long, long time. And I'm happy for people like that that I've gotten to know over the years that have really just waited for a winner. And like I said, I always kind of imagine what it would be like to cover a good St. John's team. I think these people always imagine what it would be like to root for a good St. John's team. I don't think either of us ever thought we'd see a team like this, especially this early in the Pitino era. It's been a hell of a ride, and it's really weird. March, and I'm not wondering, does St. John's have to win out to have a shot at the tournament? The fact that they're a lock and even like a 3 or 4 seed is really weird. It's really hard to get used to.
There's an immense amount of emotion, and I got on the train to Massapequa on Saturday evening, and I texted my buddy Tommy Bruno, who I had mentioned, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, crying. He basically, this is a season ticket holder for many years, and listen, when you're around this team for all these years, and we saw Lavin and Mullen and Frischella and Norm Roberts and all these guys, and that's not a schlubby list. That's some pretty impressive names, and yet the team never, hasn't been very good in a long time. So to climb the mountain like this that they are now, for people who are season ticket holders and supporters of the team, it definitely is an emotional thing that's going on.
Yeah, I mean it's, and I think it's only going to increase. I'm pretty confident that they're going to end up in Providence the first weekend. The top 4 seeds get sent close to home, so I think you're going to see a ton of St. John's fans up there in Providence the first weekend of the tournament in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another really fun thing. I've only covered St. John's in the tournament twice, Lavin's last year and then Mullins last year. Both teams were one and done. And I think this team has a chance with the right draw to play at least a few games in the tournament.
What you think a Herschy and Keegs roadshow is in order?
So. That would be nice.
If we can,
let's go to Providence.
I don't know how easily they'll be handing out press credentials for that. But if we can
working on it.
If we can get our dirty little mitts on some, we'll take that road trip for sure. There's no question about it. I mean, I just, to me, it's just hard to believe that we're at this point. I certainly am hoping, that Pitino sticks around and lets this thing build a little bit. I know that a buddy of mine saw him at a game, a baseball game over the summertime, and he took a picture with him.
Yankees.
Yeah, so he took a picture with him, and he said that when he put his arm around Pitino, he felt like he was holding like a cinder block. He said that Pitino is built like a brick shithouse, even though he doesn't look it. He's hard as hell. Huh?
Was it Don Sill put his arm around him?
It wasn't Don Sill, no. But so I'm sure you can attest to the fact that he's a total beast.
Oh, every day he's on the treadmill at 6 a.m. Players talk about when they're in the weight room, he's doing his stuff. I mean, he's a freak. He's a health nut, man. And that's how he coaches. And yeah, he's in incredible shape. I mean, people marvel at at his stamina, at his age.
Do you ever feel that it's surreal that, to me, obviously there are coaches, Krzyzewski, Dean Smith, who have won more games or, more championships maybe, but ultimately I've always thought of Pitino kind of as the Bill Parcells of college hoops, in the sense that
I have too.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
I have too.
You have to what?
I thought of him as the Bill Parcells.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What, are you saying that because I said it?
No,
you
I
said it to
agree.
me?
I've always thought that. Yeah.
And what are you saying that for?
Because I am. I agree.
I thought he's mocking me about something
No.
like he always does, Tony. No, he takes a program, turns it around, is there for a few years, and then goes on to another program, just like Parcells has done with the Jets and the Giants and the Cowboys and so forth. And would you agree that this guy has to go down in history as one of the top 5 coaches that we've ever seen in college hoops?
Yeah, it's interesting that you make the Parcells comparison. Chris Mullen at NBA All-Star Weekend was asked about Pitino, and he called him the Pat Riley of college basketball. But I actually like the Parcells one better, because you're right. And think about it. This is now going to be the 6th team he's taken in the NCAA tournament. No coach has ever done that. He's taken 3 teams to the Final Four. It's incredible how quickly he does it, and goes from program to program. And you never know what's going to happen. But I do think this is his last job. He loves New York City. He lives on Winged Foot. He's a huge golfer. He loves his Yankees, as I mentioned. He's New Yorker. When he was at Iona, and he was, and it became clear he was probably going to move up to the high major level. Texas Tech was interested, a few others, but he had no interest in really moving. He had promised his wife, "We're not moving again," and so St. John's was kind of like the perfect fit. I just, he's got a great situation now. They have a lot of money right now with NIL, and the program is they're like the toast of New York right now. I think this is going to be it. Now look,
Go out on top.
would it shock me? No, but if he found something else, but I mean, he told me the other day, this is his last college job, and I tend to believe him.
Well, I mean, listen, Indiana's going to come calling and programs like that. But, from an NIL standpoint, people need to realize that St. John's has as much or more NIL money than most teams, because we have fellow horse racing lover Mike Rapoli, who has more money than anybody, and he is the hugest St. John supporter there is. So I don't think that St. John's is going to lose out to too many programs when it comes to NIL money.
No, I mean they're in a great spot right now, and he said on WFAN yesterday, you don't retire or quit when you're building, and they're building.
Yeah,
they're gonna this year is only gonna help them recruit more players and better players, and I mean, I see a world where they could be even better next year. I really do. I know they're going to lose a lot of key guys, but they're going to bring in a lot of really good players. And they're going to return some really good players.
It's an interesting dynamic where you have some coaches who have decided to kind of step away a little bit. Like Jay Wright, he wanted no part of this new era of NIL and things of that nature. Whereas Pitino, just conversely, who's an old-time guy, basically has said, I'm not even looking at a high school kid, to recruit for next year. We're going into the portal. And he knows that there's going to be guys, just like he got this year via the portal. He knows there's going to be big guys who want to come to this program, especially after they see what's happening in the Garden and the 27 wins and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think a big part of him embracing the portal and NIL is, there was a long time where he was out of coaching high major basketball. He got fired at Louisville. He was kind of retired for a year and a half. He went to Greece, came back to Iona for a few years. So he kind of lost a lot of time. And so it's kind of like he's getting it back now at St. John's. And, he said it. He's made millions, more money than he could ever use over the years. And so why should players not get the benefit? And then the other thing, it kind of goes back to his speech the other day. He said it's kind of like professional basketball now. And you could treat them like professionals. He's yelling at these guys. They're making a lot of money. Some of them are making a lot of money. So, I think that's another way. Coaches, you could coach them hard too. I think that all kind of plays a factor.
I think that Pitino has that very rare magic combination where he can be that hard-handed coach, but also have a reverence for his players, and it's returned where they love him just the same. And you could see when he was talking on the mic after the game, he started to break down a little bit, where he loves these kids. Like, he absolutely loves these kids, and he's not just doing it for his own purposes just so he could win. He wants to build these young men into being great men. At least that's the perspective that I get when I watch him.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. You hear these guys talk, and he's incredibly hard on them. There's no question. He's incredibly demanding. He has his standard is just through the roof. But these guys, when you can be that way, when you have coach guys like Donovan Mitchell and Terry Rozier and Montrezl Harrell, and just the list obviously goes on and on. It could go back to the 90s, Jamal Mashburn and Derek Anderson and Ron Mercer, and he knows what it takes to get to the next level. And I think these players trust him. I mean, they know what it is when they come to St. John's. It's not like they get here and it's a shock. Wow, he's tough on me.
Yeah,
I mean, they know it's not going to be easy. He's got all you have to do is Google his name and his coaching style.
That's it.
Comes right up.
Zach, before we let you go, how far can they go? Tell me how far you think they can go.
Look, I think they'll end up at 3 seeds. So I think you're looking definitely at I think it should be a Sweet 16 team, and then you never know. You never know how the region breaks. If I had to pick, I'd probably pick Sweet 16, maybe Elite 8. But look, it's March, man. You never know what's going to happen. You never know when a big time seed is going to lose.
Yeah.
They're going to have one of the premier coaches of all time on their side. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. They have 2 really good closers in R.J. Lewis and Kadari Richmond. I mean, he said it the other day, we could lose in the first round or we could go to the Final Four. And I could see, if you told me they went to the Final Four, would I be shocked? No, they're 26-4.
Right.
Now, if they lost the first round, would I be shocked? Probably a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's, to me, it's a team that has a very high variance because of their shooting. But it's also a team that has won 1 million close games, that wears teams down, and I think it's going to be really tough to face for the first time. So I think they're gonna have a nice little run. Is it gonna get you all the way to San Antonio in the Final Four? We'll see. But I think I expect them to at least get to the second weekend.
For me, I think, just kind of the way he did it down the stretch the other day against Seton Hall, it's going to really depend on RJ putting this team on his back, because he's the one guy who, he's not afraid. He'll go to the basket. He'll get beaten up. And if he can put up a 20-something point game, I think that's going to be the huge factor for them. I think it's also going to be Kadari making sure that he can hit some free throws down the end, towards the end of the game. So I think those 2 guys, like you mentioned, are going to be the biggest variant, and hopefully between that and the defense, they got a good run on them.
Hey, it'd be fun. It would be fun to see a nice little St. John's run here. It's been a while for a New York City team, and I think they got everyone's attention now, and it's gonna be exciting to see how far it goes.
Yeah, man. Well, we appreciate your time. Everybody, Zach Braziller, make sure you follow him on, he's a New York Post, obviously, writer. He's on Twitter and other socials. Mike and I were talking about it. We love your last name, Braziller. You must, because we're all nickname guys. I'm Hershey. He's the Keegs. This is Tony Knock 'em Dead Comedy Walker. Tell us some nicknames that you had as a kid or even nowadays, because I'm sure that people use that name Braziller and came up with some great shit.
No, nothing good.
What?
No, man. There's nothing really good.
Damn, Braz.
Brajol. How about
no, I don't have anything good, unfortunately. I wish I had something good for you.
the Thriller and Braziller? That's
I like it.
huh?
I like that one. Yeah.
Magilla Braziller.
Thriller in Brazil. I think that's what we're going
It's a
with.
great name, dude.
Right.
It's really good. But we really appreciate your time, especially at the last minute like this. I reached out to a few people. Peter Schwartz, who's a friend of the show, has a show here at the same station. He spoke very highly of you. And when I told my buddy Tommy that you were coming on, he's like, he's been reading you for 10 years. So you are a very gifted writer. You're obviously a wonderful guy, and we appreciate your time today.
Thanks. Hey, hit me up if you guys go to Providence. Get a beer.
You got it, brother.
100%.
100%. All right, a Thriller in Brazil. We'd love to have you on, and we'll talk to you soon, pal. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Take care.
You, man.
act.
What a terrific dude.
Excellent
man.
guy. Very cool.
Why did you mock me there? What
I
happened?
didn't. I was trying. I was agreeing. I'm banter. It's called banter.
No, but it felt like
I've always thought. I'm like Rick Pitino. He's like the Bill Parcells of
just because like Parcells doesn't have the no, it felt like a mock job, Tony. He doesn't have the 7 titles or the 6 titles, whatever it is that Belichick does, but he's turned these franchises around and made them winners, and that's the same thing that Pitino's done.
That's what I've been telling everyone.
Yeah, there's something going on here between you two, and I'm not finished with you.
To do with it.
All right, we're gonna take a little break, and I'm gonna read a couple of sponsors, and then we're gonna go. We're gonna talk Hershey and Keegs stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
But how great of a guy was that?
He was a great guy. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
I want to go to Providence now. I want to grab a beer with the Gorilla and Brazilla.
First of all, how far is Providence if we drive there?
30 minutes. No, it's probably a good 4-hour drive. Probably
for you,
almost.
that's a nothing burger. You were just down in D.C.
I just did that this weekend. Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll look to see like if there are tickets that are not going to bleed our eyes dry.
Yeah, I'm sure tickets are much cheaper down there too.
All right,
let's look into it.
All right, we're going to do that. All right, we have American Restoration Solutions, right, Mr. Tone? Yes, sir. Yeah, no, that's okay. We'll take our little time. It's in there, right there, next to there you go. All right.
Sorry.
We have our second run of sponsors led by the wonderful American Restoration Solutions. When disaster strikes, they'll guide you to recovery. Call 516-662-9377 and ask for my buddy, Senior Account Manager Keith Dunn, who, honestly, I just have to say is one of the best people that I know since he's a kid. And again, if you're in a horrific situation where you need restoration solutions, call American Restoration Solutions because he'll definitely take good care of you. New View Construction, established in 2007. They are the people to call for the finest craftsmanship and all of your general contracting needs. Call 516-924-5627 and do it with confidence. Sip and Serve Waitress and Bartending Service. Elevate your next private party with the Sip and Serve Squad. Their awesome bar and wait staff will ensure your event will be unforgettable. Book now and let them handle the details while you enjoy the celebration. Call Jen at 516-528-6783. With the warmer weather coming up, outdoor parties, barbecues, you don't want to be doing your own stuff.
Now's the time. No, exactly.
You go ahead and call and let them do all the work for you, and you can go ahead and get blitzed, take your edibles,
enjoy yourself. Exactly.
drink all you want, and let them clean up, okay? And last but not least, New York State licensed real estate person, Diane Keegan.
Hello.
From All Island Estates Realty Corporation, you can call Diane directly at 516-458-1864 or email her at diane@allislandestates.com. If you're looking to rent, sell, or buy, make Diane your first call. Yes. And as always, thank you to the sponsors of the Hershey and Keegs show. We wouldn't be here without you.
If you want to get blitzed, call Diane, and she'll take care. She'll restore. Yeah. She'll restore stuff for you.
Exactly.
She'll serve for you.
Everything.
She'll do your HVAC.
All that stuff. Just forget about all the other ones. Just use Diane for all that stuff. So now we're gonna.
That was a great job, Mark. I think you're like the Bill Parcells of reading sponsorships.
What is going on here with the Bill Parcells thing?
I don't know.
We're gonna talk a little bit about how I was 2 times this weekend when I was out in the wild. I felt a little mistreated by people, and I'm going to give you not one but 2 examples. So I make the last minute decision. I'm taking Max to the St. John's game, and it's me and Max and my buddy Dom and his son, and we get to the Massapequa train station. We're about 10 minutes early, so I say, well, why don't we buy our tickets and stay in the house that's downstairs, the main ticket house,
the vestibule.
They all wanted to go upstairs and wait into the one that's on the one that's there on the platform.
Oh, the one upstairs that smells like piss.
Exactly. Yeah. So I didn't really want to go into Urineville.
Yeah.
But it just happened that way. So we get up there and it's windy and I'm like, what are we doing up here? So they all go in and I pull the door open, the big glass door, and it seemed like I slammed the door closed behind me, but I didn't. It was a gust of wind that blasted the door closed behind me. And as I walk in, there's probably like a Hispanic Latino couple sitting there, maybe in their mid-60s. And as the door slams closed, I hear the woman turn to her husband and she says, "Animale." Animale? She what?
What does that mean?
Animale. She calls me an animal.
Calls him a Jewish animal.
She called me a Jewish animal.
Yeah.
Do you think, number one, that she was trying to insinuate that I had slammed the door on purpose?
I think she was, and you know what? She's an animal. Who hangs out in the urine infested?
I don't understand.
You know how many times I peed in that thing?
I wasn't going to pee until she said it. Yeah, then I decided to.
Exactly.
But I don't understand the gall on her.
Did you confront
No,
her?
I was like, what? Like what? Animale?
Yeah.
Like why would?
I don't speak Spanish, but I know that one.
I mean, it's not. It's one letter off.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not that bright, but I can figure that out.
Yeah. It's
So
like scumbago.
yeah, exactly.
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if she said Duo, I would have been like,
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
know what you're saying
yeah,
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They think they're slick, but we
she
know
wasn't slick.
No.
She wasn't slick. She wasn't sharp in any way, shape, or form. And I was a little bit like it stuck with me at least until like Limerick.
Screw her.
Yeah. Well, that would have been the real Animale move.
Yeah, exactly.
If I would have done that. So that was one day. And then another day, I'm in a local deli. I think I was in Belmore, and I was getting I think it was
As
one
you
of
like it?
my usual egg white sandwich type of thing, whatever I was getting,
Pepper.
and with the peppers and the whole thing. And I went to check out. Now the guy who was working the counter was shockingly smaller than me height-wise, which is not, like you...
That's unfortunate.
It's almost like you have to
Was
be
it a child?
a jockey or a child, or a what do they call them?
A midget.
Well, if you're allowed to say that,
Oh, okay.
if you can say one of those things,
A critter.
whatever you want to say it. And so I pay for my thing, and as I'm walking, he's like, "Thanks, little buddy." He's
What?
like,
Oh no!
what? What? Little what?
Oh my goodness!
Me?
Yeah.
First Animale, then little buddy.
Yeah, you're like a little animal.
I'm a little animale. I'm a pequeño animale. I don't understand why.
Why would he say
what
that?
Was what was happening? Like with me this weekend that I was drawing
I think
that
was kind
thing.
of like a Napoleon. Like he was trying to make you feel inferior to him.
And I felt like I did, and I'm like, you're definitely a good 3 inches
Could have
shorter
just
than
said
me, though.
buddy, bro.
Buddy,
What
pal.
TV show or movie you use that term all the time?
Little buddy. Oh, it's the skipper from Gilligan's
Oh,
Island.
that's
Oh,
it.
right.
Right.
Was
Yeah.
he wearing a skipper's hat? Was
Yeah,
it
no.
Alan
Alan Hale?
Was it Alan Hale Jr.?
Oh my god!
Do people tell you look like Bob Denver?
You know what? He kind of does a little.
No,
bit.
the one who died in the plane crash, maybe.
Oh, that Bob Denver.
That's it. That's
The
Bob
other
Denver also.
Yeah, little John Denver. Yeah.
Yeah, John Denver.
John Denver,
Oh, John
yeah.
Denver. That's right. Yeah, he did die in a plane crash, didn't he?
That's right.
Yeah. So those two things were unnerved me.
Yeah,
this weekend.
You work hard all week. You take
Yeah.
care of your family. You shouldn't have to, spend your weekend getting called a little animal.
It was definitely unnerving to me, and I wanted to talk to you about it.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and there is one more thing that happened today. But before I do that, we cannot be remiss and forget something that's very significant in the annals. Annals?
Anals.
Well, for you, it's annals. Yeah.
It's significant anals.
If in
Animales?
and in the animales of this show, in the annals of this show, I think it's very important to acknowledge. And you knew about this because you texted me today. Remember to talk about this on the show.
Obviously,
okay.
yeah.
Wink, wink. You knew that 1 year ago today. Was a very important surgery in the life of our own Pig Vomit, Rich Kleiman.
This is correct.
You call him Pig Vomit.
I call it pig vomit. I call it. I say
You call it
I
Pig Vomit.
him.
I call it Vom.
Yeah,
Vomit.
PV.
The vomit of pigs, we
Yeah,
like to call
yeah.
him.
Piggy.
But
Piggy
one,
voms.
1 year ago today, he had a surgery to remove a cancerous thing off of his pancreas. And he's doing well, thank God. He recovered. But the bottom line is, we need to make make sure that we appreciate the people that we love, and not just people that are supporters of this show, but just in general. And the Vomit of Pigs has been a supporter of this show from the beginning.
It's a year now, going strong.
And he's going strong, and he's going to be going for his check pretty soon, and hopefully that works out well. They anticipate that it will.
I saw him post about it on Facebook. I think I hearted it.
Yeah. No, you definitely.
I left a heart emoji.
You put a heart on.
Yeah, big heart on.
So thank you as always, Vomit of Pigs. We appreciate you. We're happy that came and went, and you're doing well.
Yeah.
And you're a part of this show for eternity. Okay.
Forever.
Speaking of annals or anals, this is a good segue.
Now speaking of anals,
this was like a I got Mike Keegan today by someone who is not Mike Keegan.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm on Levittown Moms, as I tend to kind of dabble around.
Stalk?
I've been known to dabble around a little bit.
I know you're a dabbler.
And I'm going to read to you the post that was on there. Okay. This is on Levittown Mom. This is not hyperbole or a joke or anything like that. The post that was on there on Levittown Moms was, does anyone know a local vet that does an inexpensive internal anal gland expression? Banfield charges $40, although I love them. It's getting quite pricey. The groomer only does external. Thanks. And so I'm reading that, and then I happen to just scroll down, and I see that Sue Harrington, me and Stacy's close friend who lives around the block, she tagged me in the thing. She fucking tagged me. And then I'm like, I don't know a vet that does anal gland expressions.
Yeah. I know a guy.
But then I'm like, that's not why she tagged me. She tagged me because she was trying to infer to this person that I am an expert.
Mark Hirschman, and he does house calls. Yeah.
That I do.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
I'm in the Levittown Mom group. How did I not see that?
Yeah. She tagged me, and then of course I was humiliated, embarrassed, mortified, and I wrote back on the response, I only do it as a hobby. But because I have.
But needless to say, you express that dog's anal gland.
Yeah,
and then
it's interesting.
Not scooting anymore.
It's interesting that the person did post.
That's amazing.
It's 40. Yeah, Sue Harrington got me. My good friend Sue Harrington. You would think though, is $40 really? I mean, I don't know. I've never had a dog's anal glands expressed that I'm aware of. At least not voluntarily.
Dude, there's YouTube videos. You could just do it. I'm serious. You really don't have to go to a vet to do it, or a groomer.
You're gonna express your own dog's anal gland.
Yeah, there's YouTube videos. It's
I don't
very
give
easy.
a fuck if there's anything about it. You're gonna express your own. You're gonna secrete fecal matter from the dog's anal gland.
It's not a lot, and it's mostly like kind of oily discharge.
You're a goddamn savage. You know that?
You save $40 because the groomers do it for you, but there's usually an upcharge. But it's very, very easy. It's like you do it in a clockwise.
All right, Tony. He's telling me like he knows he does this as a profession.
You're surprised?
Not as a profession, but as a frugal person that likes to save $40 every 2 months.
So you've done this before. You've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Why not?
So maybe Sue Harrington didn't think
and
that.
you could do it. See, look, yeah, exactly. It's very easy.
All right,
You
okay, thank you.
And then you go in a clock. You go in a clockwise motion.
No.
Mark disapproves.
Disgusting. Speaking of
Come on,
porn,
Mark,
by
I'll
the
show
way.
you. It's really, you can do it on humans too. Come here.
Yeah, okay. Speaking of porn, by the way.
Exactly.
Speaking of porn,
Come on, I got 2 hands.
As we talked about on an episode a couple of weeks ago where Tony wound up trying on a pair of underpants that was merchandise from the Brokerage Comedy Club, and at some point one of his Nougats had slipped out of the pair of drawers.
Yes.
And one of you guys wanted to show me the video, and I was like, no.
Screenshot.
And then apparently Mike the next day, by the way, he played the video and then screenshotted, and he sent me a picture of your nugget slipping out of your trousers that day, which is just, like, what's wrong with the two of you that this is even a thing?
You guys couldn't concentrate the rest of the day,
That's
right?
right.
Just thinking about it all day.
It wasn't guys. It was this
No, it was
guy.
both of you.
It was this guy. I don't want to see your nugget. But one thing I didn't even tell you this because I was a little aghast by it. I do sometimes, what do they say in baseball that you shouldn't have rabbit ears, that you shouldn't, listen to the crowd and stuff like that. Well, once in a while, I'll go to some of our YouTubes, like the YouTube shorts that Boy Friday puts up for us, Jake Chapman, or the TikToks, and people will comment on them. And we've had, the most famous one is these two morons share one brain or stuff like that. One. This is a new one.
No, not one brain cell between the two.
That's right. That's right. Well, this was a new one actually, and this basically. So essentially, the video, if you recall, was. Let me read the exact verbiage. This is a YouTube short that is posted of us that has almost 5,000 views on it. And it's a clip from a show from a few months ago where you saw a Facebook post and you commented on it saying, if losing a dog is unbearable, I bet losing a bear is undoggable. Yeah. Yeah. And apparently that thread got some people pissed. That particular Facebook thread, because you were in a group, which shockingly you have not been banned from at this juncture.
I'm not banned from the group, but I was getting threatening emails,
texts and stuff like that. Yeah,
inbox.
So Mike basically said losing a dog is unbearable, but losing a bear is undoggable. Okay, now I happen to I don't even think I was looking for content for the show today, but I stumbled upon this comment that a user had left us. So this user, JEP97_RCC, said, "You are the nut job, first of all. The joke is not funny. It's just a banal pun. Second, you made a joke under someone else's post while they're grieving, which is a dick move. It's like you're at your aunt's funeral and a person that you don't even know comes in and randomly spews a tasteless joke like, what the fuck are you doing?"
Wow.
Yeah. So why does Carla go under the name Jep97 _RCC, first of all?
It's probably some kind of Colombian thing. Jep,
yeah. So people don't respond that well to some of the things that you do.
Oh my goodness, what do you have to bring my aunt into this for?
I don't know. I just I wanted to discuss that with you to tell you that there are people that are out there that are not so fond of the things that you're doing.
But there are several that are fond of them.
There's so many people that are fond, obviously.
They're not all going to be winners.
You know who is a big fan of yours?
Who's this?
Bill Parcells.
Bill Parcells. I consider myself the Bill Parcells of the grieving dog comments.
Animale. Yeah. Just the animale.
Oh my goodness, people are coming at us, huh? They're calling you an animal.
I feel like that we've missed a lot in the past few weeks. You've been busy. You were in DC this weekend. What's been happening?
I was in DC for Carla. Carla had a show at a theater in DC, which is this beautiful theater called the Capitol Turnaround.
Yeah.
It was a Hispanic comedy fiesta show.
Okay.
And it was awesome. It was a great show. This guy, Eric Nieves, hosted it. Hispanic guy from somewhere in probably
Colombia,
probably Washington Heights or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, Manny Ramirez. Yeah.
Aldo Maraclian, and then Roberto Vanderpool closed it, who's phenomenal.
Roberto's a killer.
He's an absolute killer. But it was cool. Yeah. We had a nice little trip to D.C. We were staying at the same hotel as our Secretary of State, Mark Rubio.
Did you see him or no?
Yeah. Me and Carla, before the show,
that's crazy.
We were sitting at the bar having a drink before the show.
Yeah.
And we see two giant SUVs pull up. Mm-hmm. And Secret Service gets out, and I'm like, "Oh wow, it must be somebody important."
Yeah.
And the bartender's like, "Yeah, there's a politician staying here, but I guess they told her she's not allowed to tell us who it was."
Right.
And then we see him get out. And remember, Trump used to call him Little Marco.
Yeah,
He's
Little Marco.
Tiny. He's tiny.
Yeah.
I think he called you Little Buddy the other day.
Yeah, they call me Little Marco also.
That's right. Your name is Mark. But he's tiny. He was wearing a little Met hat and a hoodie, so I didn't know who it was. And then I go, yeah, I think I know him. And the bartender probably wasn't supposed to say. She goes, it's the Secretary of State. So after I Googled who the Secretary of State is,
Right. the big right wing brilliant man that you are.
I'm like, who is the Secretary? I'm like, oh shit, that is Marco Rubio. We saw him. He went to his room to get his luggage and came back out. It was pretty exciting. There was a ton of Secret
But
Service.
you couldn't get anywhere near him though.
I probably could have, but like he was literally 30 feet away. Like I probably could have walked up to him.
Slick.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah.
And it was a cool weekend. We drove by the White House. Carla spit on it, and she was well behaved.
Wait a second, wasn't it the Caterpillar's birthday this weekend?
It was Friday night. Was her birthday.
So when did you guys flee to DC?
So Saturday morning we went to DC.
Okay.
And the Caterpillar had her acting class, and then stayed with Carla's sister. They had a little birthday party for her there.
Okay.
And then Friday night we took Juliana out to Hibachi. She loves Hibachi.
Yeah.
There's a nice little Hibachi place in Merritt.
Happy birthday to Juliana, 10 years old.
10 years old.
Unbelievable, really, because she was just a little tiny little bug like a minute ago.
I know.
So she's a big girl now. Yeah.
And then Sunday night we went out. Outback is her favorite restaurant.
Okay.
So the whole family went to Outback. Aunt Patty, Uncle John, Angela.
Yep.
Her best friend Ren and her mom.
And Stimpy.
Stimpy. And then next Sunday is her birthday party for her friends.
And where's that going to be?
At Safety Swim in Levittown.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, right over.
Okay.
Yeah, right
I'll
over
pop
here.
by,
right
probably.
Yeah, come by.
I'll be if there's pizza, I'll be there.
Bring your little Speedos.
Wait, so you did a little? So it was a one night overnight jaunt?
One night overnight. We left at like 10 a.m. on Saturday.
3:00 you got there.
Got there around 3:30.
Yeah.
Did the show. Got up the next morning. I just drove around. We didn't stop anywhere, but it just passed by the Washington Monument, the Capitol, just to see everything while I was there. And we stopped in Baltimore for some crabs.
Oh wow! How was that?
There's this place called LP Steamers. And it's whenever I'm in Baltimore, that's where I go for crabs.
Wait, so you brought them home with you, or you?
No, we actually got them and just ate them in the car. We didn't get like the full like crabs and stuff. We got that a stuffed broiled soft shell crab, which was absolutely delicious.
If I like that, I would love that.
Oh, and the best crab cake I've ever had in my life.
Wow. You're a crab cake connoisseur.
Oh, I am a crab cake boy. They call me Krabby Mike.
Yeah, crab cakes they call you. Nice.
And then we drove home and picked Juliana up at her friend's house and went out to dinner. So it's
awesome.
A one-night thing.
Good stuff.
It was a nice weekend.
A one night trip.
Little one-night trip there. It's like Tony going to London for 3.5 hours.
Tony did a day trip to London. Actually, that's true. Very cool. Well, boys and girls, that was a fiery, quick 1 hour.
Quick, yeah.
Here we are at 10 o'clock. Go ahead, Mikey, and tell us what you got coming up, because we know there's a lot of good stuff coming up.
Yeah, a couple things coming up. This Saturday, I'm going to be at the Riverhead Moose Lodge.
Okay.
With it's actually a lot of people. It's like a 200.
Dude, those Moose Lodges could be lit. Those
huge.
shows.
It's me, George Gallo, Tony Landolfi, and Eric Heft.
They're great. I just did a show there September, October. They're
that one
great.
in Riverhead.
That's a
Oh,
great
yeah,
room.
awesome. Oh, very cool.
Great room.
Awesome. Yeah,
Awesome.
Gallo's closing it, and then we got a couple of shows that I'm producing coming up. We're gonna have March 20th at Docks and Island Park.
Yep.
And then we're going to do March 27th. Me and Richie Byrne, we're teaching our comedy class.
Yeah, good.
We have our graduation show right here in the Giggle Room on March 27th.
Terrific.
So we have a couple of our graduates.
I will definitely be there.
Tyler
you know
Noble,
that.
who I know has been on Tony's show.
Absolutely.
And the kid's hilarious.
Very noble guy.
The D-Man, Dan Schreiber. And we got... Chuck Fox is coming down for a spot. Pat O'Rourke's going to host it. Me, Richie Byrne.
Killer.
And then April 18th, I'm back here in the Giggle Room. Those tickets are on sale also.
All right. So buy your tickets at govs.com and look for Mike Keegan's name. Mr. Tony Knock 'em Dead Comedy. What do you have coming up, big boy?
If you're in Goshen, New York tomorrow afternoon, we're doing a game show at the Goshen Library. This Saturday, PopCon, a pop culture celebration with arts and crafts and all sorts of events right here at the Levittown Library. And Knock 'em Dead Comedy will be doing 2 game shows that day at the Levittown Public Library at 11:30 and the other one's at 1.
Awesome.
11:30 at 1.
While you're in Goshen, at Legoland. Legoland
is that where? Really?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Very
Stop
good.
by.
Very
Cool.
good.
Thank you.
Very good. Well, listen, this has been unbelievable as always. Zach Braziller, Magilla Gorilla Braziller. That was good. We gave him some new nicknames.
Yeah.
We had some St. John's. We had some fun. Thank you for watching, listening, share, tag, all that good stuff.
Let's go Redmen.
Let's go Red Storm.
Red
That's
Storm.
right. You just got us banned now.
I'm sorry.
You got a shadow ban.
I don't know basketball. I grew up in a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood.
We're going to go now. Have a good night, folks. Nice seeing you. We'll see you next week. Ciao.
Bye.